Hello everyone, and welcome to part 3 of my Kerbal Space Program series. In the last episode, we did some science. We accidentally broke the atmosphere without accepting the contract to do it. And we did more science. And in this episode, what we're going to do is, you guessed it, more science. We're also going to try to get some contracts to earn a little bit of money before trying to send a Kerbal into space. Because I'll be honest, until I upgrade the launch pad, I don't think I'll be able to do it. Because I just think 18 tons is a little bit too low. As a matter of fact, my height is a little bit too low, so I gotta lower this. There we go. And my mass is at 15 tons, right? Just with this. And this wouldn't be able to achieve orbit if I tried. So, basically all I've got here is a testing vehicle. I've got to test the stability enhancers, which is easy, and the stack decoupler at, I think it's 15,000 feet, so I just have 3 solid fuel boosters, an LV909 engine, and a stack decoupler there. So, I saved it, and let us go. Who are going to choose to be our victor? Yep, I think Jebediah is up to the task. I could double check the mission here. Alright, got plenty of height on this thing. I need to be at 15,000 meters for the stack decoupler, traveling at least 350 meters per second. So, let's go ahead and keep the throttle of this low to save some fuel. And, let us go! Wow, the low profile of this thing really helps keep it stable. I need to be about 15,000 before I fire the decoupler, going at least 350 meters per second. Alright. That's not too difficult, and we already completed one mission for how little money? 416. Pathetic! Alright. Now we're just waiting to get up. And there that is. Fire those. Crap. Well, I just mucked this up. I also did not add a parachute to this. Crap. I'm reverting that flight to vehicle assembly. Oh god, brain fart. It's those times where I definitely am okay with reverting flights, because that's exactly what the reverting flight is there for, in case you fuck up royally like I just did. Now, I don't mind losing that, mission on the first try, because that's normal for me. What I do, however, mind is, forgetting the parachute and it causing everything to crash and burn in the fiery death of Jebediah. Go ahead and resave this and relaunch it, because I am a complete fool. I'm a complete fool that forgot to start my timer. I'm also a complete fool that let my time go way longer after I completed my video. So, go ahead and max the thrust on this. Actually, don't need to max the thrust on this. Boom! Fly to the stars! And by the stars, I mean relatively high in the atmosphere. I love how Jebediah just looks so happy about this situation, even though he doesn't really have a window to see through, except for that tiny little hole in the crew hatch. I don't think I got any more science here, do I? No, I do not. I did not put science instrumentation on this because, well, it's a tad heavy. So, especially the module for it. Alright, let's go ahead and continue upward. And we're going to angle a little bit here so that when I decouple, everything goes fine. And I'm losing velocity way too fast. I really got to get up there. Come on. Alright, I'm there. And that is both completed. And try to break loose. There we go. Nope. Break loose of it. There we are. Goodbye! I don't care that you're still firing at full throttle. Oh god, you're coming back! Oh god, if this thing comes back to hit me, I'm going to be so annoyed. What's my height at? I'm pretty much at apoapse, so... Oh god, did that thing really come that close? You can't not love this game, I swear. Let's go ahead and clear my notifications on my phone. I don't need those! Is that thing still going? Holy balls. It's a couple kilometers away now. That's in no danger of hitting me. That actually might go into... Well, it's not going to go into orbit, but it's going to go into reasonably high in the atmosphere. Yeah, or I'm just falling way too fast. Anyway, let's go ahead and speed this up. Oh, I forgot stability assist is still on. Might as well turn that off. It's not doing him any good. And at, I guess right now I'll deploy the chute to get some additional drag. I'm right over the sea, so I can afford to do this. The one thing I don't like, you can only go to 4 times time acceleration. They should add in 8 times just for purely in-atmosphere use. Because it's 1, 2, 4, 10, 50, 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000, I think. As your options. 10,000 is if you're waiting for like a planetary window to launch, and I'll explain all that later. I feel like I've been saying that a lot. I'll explain everything later, don't worry. Anywho, let's just land this thing, get some money, and no science. And unfortunately, because I jettisoned everything, I will gain almost nothing in parts. But I did get 5,000 for that stack decoupler, and 400 for the stability enhancer, so I consider that many wins. Let's go ahead and recover that. Jebediah has returned safely from his sojourn into low atmosphere. And he gained no experience, but I've got a pretty decent chunk of reputation now. I could probably use that to start up something. Go ahead and get rid of that. I don't need any of this. Let's go ahead and recover it all. And by recover it, I mean shelve it for later use. Okay, so I could upgrade the launch pad right now. However, that would leave me with about 9,000 to do everything, and I won't be able to do anything with that amount of money. Alright, we're down to just one layer of this, so they want me to test that orbiting Kerbin. Not gonna happen. That one's a bit too annoying, and, well, that does give me 14,000. Want me to test radial parachutes that high up? I don't think so. The liquid fuel engine, flying these things has never been a good thing for me, so I think I'm just going to go with the contract of trying to orbit Kerbin. Because they give me an advance of 32 grand. And with that advance, I can upgrade this and make it so I can launch much heavier vehicles. Now the whole thing is, will I be able to do it within the constraints of the vehicle assembly building, which means I can only have 30 parts, yeah, I think that's the only restriction of the vehicle assembly area. So we're going to go new, and I'm very confident in my ability to build something that can orbit, because I've done it before, a few times. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the basic command module started, and this is what we'll be returning. I should bring a science bay, because I have yet to get many things from, I might add another one of these, actually. Now, I wouldn't be able to land that very effectively. You know what? Since I am planning on orbiting, I'm not going to bring these back. And I'll show... I can't do that because I need to upgrade the astronaut complex for him to go on EVA outside. That's 56. I can't do that until after, unfortunately. So, I'm going to have to design this with the science bays being brought back, and that's a whole different kettle of fish, as English and Scottish folk might say. Alright, so that's coming back. And then anything under that can just be gone. Okay, that is the last stage. That is the stage that will come back from the atmosphere. Now, I'm going to add a communitron on one end, right here. I might be able to get into high orbit, so I'm going to add one of these, otherwise I've exhausted all the mystery goo science I can get. And to counteract some of that aerodynamically, I'm going to add a couple of batteries on here. And I'm going to go ham. I'm going to give this thing 4 radial mount parachutes. That should sufficiently reduce the drag so that I can land this safely. There we are. Go ahead and make sure they're on the right stage first. Okay. So the batteries will allow me to communicate and roll around. See, I'm going to be using a lot of this stuff. So, utility, I don't think I'll need landing legs, honestly. Okay, so, this is the section that comes back. Now we need a section that can correct its orbit and get back out of orbit. And for that, we are going to use one of these medium fuel tanks and the LV-909 engine. Now this won't really help us much while we're in atmosphere, because the LV-909 doesn't have enough thrust to push the fuel tank, both the science base and the command module, through the atmosphere very effectively, if at all. So its literal only purpose is to push this thing into and out of orbit. Okay, now here comes the fun part. Not having the good fuel tanks is going to be annoying, because I just have the ones from KW Rocketry. But to be fair, this thing only weighs about 0.4 more, and it holds 40 more units of fuel, so go ahead and use 2 of these, and then put a powerful engine under it, which would be the... I could use this one. Can this one fit? That's the thing about KW Rocketry's engines. Even with its own fuel tanks, it doesn't fit properly, a lot of them. Like, for example, the Vesta, it does fit, but it's only got 90 thrust. And it burns fuel pretty damn quickly, which is unfortunate. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be a bit more complex than any rocket I've built yet. So I'm going to give it the less powerful engine because it's got vectoring range, and vectoring range will allow you to steer, which is exceptionally important. There we go. You may think we're done. Hell no. We are going to add, because this is a bit of a big rocket, we're going to add 4 decouplers. And if we had fuel ducts, I would build the same exact thing on here, except with more powerful engines. 1 to steer, 4 to thrust. However, we don't have access to fuel lines yet. And I'll explain how those are very useful later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these big giant Rockamax boosters, because of just how much struts they give. They are a tad bit expensive though, but I think I can eat the cost if I can just get them on there. They are indeed on there. I want this one to fire at the same time. Now, the thing I'm worried about is that these might crash into my lower stage. So you can offset this risk by getting Sepatrons. Sepatrons are cheap. You can rotate them with W and D, and you want to put them along the inside, so that way they push themselves away. Now you just want to make sure you set the stage properly. Alright, so what this should do is this should push these away and down, so that way if they collide underneath. So what you want to do is you want to set these to the stage where your radial decouplers are, so that they all go away at the same time. So, okay, here we are, going by staging. These 4 will fire, and then in the next stage, these decouplers will get rid of these and these Sepatrons will burn them away, while this is still going. The next stage, this will decouple, then this engine will fire, then it will decouple from here. And we shall be coolio. I'm never going to say that again. Alright, we're going to go with Jebediah here because we're going to need his stability assist, because I don't have any faith in my ability to keep this rocket stable, especially without structural support struts, because this thing's going to wobble a little bit without them. Let's go ahead and put aerodynamic nose cones here on here, because I can, and hopefully I can. Hopefully I'm not hitting the parts limit. That would be really, really shitty. Am I at the parts limit? I am 13 above the parts limit. Crap. Go ahead and... I need to get rid of 8 more parts, which means Sepatrons, they have to go. Alright, I'm just going to have faith that these are going to fall away straight. So I had to get rid of one of my batteries, all of my Sepatrons, and something else. The nose cones. But this should work. So yeah, the next thing to upgrade is my vehicle assembly bay, because if I want to put something in orbit, I gotta do it. So, first attempt at an orbital launch. I've spent the first 10 minutes of this video building. I promise you, I will not spend that long building in the future. Yeah, you can see these things wobbling already. I really need support struts, like in the worst way. Did I do this already? Yes, I did. I am not going to do that. But what I am going to do is keep this engine on low throttle. It's just there for steering. And we're going to fire! And we're going to observe the material bay now. Oh, stability system. Quickly. There we go. Now we have 17 signs from that, which is very useful. And we're going pretty much straight up. Now, to attain orbit, the easiest way to do it is with the rotation of the planet. So, when you get to 10,000 meters up, you want to hit D. That's your pitch. No, that's your yaw, rather. You want to turn at a 45-degree angle to push yourself along with the rotation of the planet. That way, you're spending as little fuel as possible braking orbit. You can see this thing rolling slightly because we don't... oh boy, this thing's actually losing a little bit. Yeah, stop rolling, stop rolling. Yeah, no! Yeah, those need to... Oh crap, I lost a wing. This is not going as planned. And indeed, I'm not even going in the right direction. I am not going in the right direction, even with stability assist. I am not doing anything correctly here. Oh god. I do not believe this launch is fated to work out. As a matter of fact, I'm already along my apoapse. I'm way no, I'm not. It won't show me the time to apoapse. That's weird. Well, my apoapse is increasing. Let's go ahead and align myself with the prograde vector and switch myself to stage only so I can see how much fuel I've got. I need this to be at least 70. Alright. Just carefully watch it. You'll know your acceleration stops if the G-force meter goes down. That means your acceleration's dead. I think I want to increase my height a little bit here. But yeah, I am not going into orbit very efficiently at all. Alright, I want to get this to 80 and then I'll cut. And then I want to set a maneuver node, but I can't do that yet. I guess I gotta wait until my pilot's a bit better. Alright, so I guess I'll just try to turn... Can I not? I'm trying to get along the prograde vector right here. That's the thing, you got... I don't have much fuel left either. I think I have enough fuel in my upper stage to achieve an orbit. At least enough to get the mission. This is a orbit-capable vehicle. Very much so. I just completely fucked over the launch. Again, if I had structural support struts, that would have been a lot easier, the launch. If I could get over the marker, there we are. See, the problem with this is I've got so much fuel left. Not fuel left, it's just that there's so much mass in that upper stage that the torque from the capsule isn't enough to turn this. Alright, so I want to start burning prograde at this. You have to keep an eye on the nav ball here. Keep it pointed at the prograde vector. For some reason, it's really not showing me time to apoapse. I think I gotta be a bit higher level of a pilot for that to happen. Alright, let's start burning. And there goes that, so I didn't get very much out of that stage at all. Alright. There's that. And now we're trying to increase our apoapse here. Our periapse, rather. Just trying to get into orbit. If I could get along it, thank you. Come on. Burn prograde. Burn prograde, damn you! The only problem with this next part is that the engine for this... It just doesn't have a lot of thrust, so... I should have burned a little earlier. Actually, I should probably burn a little bit higher because, I really should have burned early. Burning a little bit higher just to try to keep my elevation high because my elevation is dropping right now. And with it, my odds of achieving an orbit that is more than 70 kilometers in height. By burning high, I'm keeping myself high in the atmosphere, at least hopefully. Alright, I'm just going to have to straight up burn high. I don't think I can do it because I just re-entered the atmosphere. Yeah, it's not happening. Orbit will not happen this day, sadly. Might as well just get that data right there because I'm gonna need it. This was well, it wasn't a disaster. I've got science. Crap. I have to remember not to click out of this thing. And there goes the thing. I'm trying to point toward that desert, see if I can't land in that. Trying to land in the desert because it will give me science when I reach it. And I'm still high up to the point where I can angle myself toward it. As you can see, the velocity there is changing. And without parachute assist, I should land in the desert. Right now I'm burning along the coast. If I pull my nose down a little bit. Alright, I should be able to get to the desert like this. Just keep burning a little bit. Set myself up for a beautiful encounter with the desert. And my stage is about to fall away here, so... And fall away, my friend, fall away. Once you burn through your fuel. I will obtain orbit in this episode. Alright, now we're going to wait to deploy our parachutes until I'm reasonably certain we will definitely land in the desert. And re-entry effects. Turn. Honestly, I don't want the parachute to burn. I don't want the parachute to burn. Turn over, damn you. Just honestly distributing my weight throughout the re-entry. So that way no one side gets heated too much. Coming in a little bit steeper than most astronauts would generally say is a good idea. Don't want that to get too hot. Alright, there we go. Now I'm launching my parachutes. Those things are really pulling. And because I'm over the desert, I am not going to get those things deployed at 500 according to that meter. They're probably going to deploy it closer to 800. I just really hope they don't tear off. I'm going to accelerate a little bit so that we're closer to the ground. Once we're at about 2,000 meters, I'm cutting the acceleration. That's actually, yeah. That was a bit ambitious of me because the ground's coming up a lot faster than I thought it would. Like, you can't really tell because they don't have attitude sensors, which is really annoying. But the desert is above sea level, so you want to be careful. I'd even go so far as to say you better quick save. I honestly thought this flight would achieve orbit. And this flight could have achieved orbit, I just completely fucked up. So what we're going to do is we're going to launch what is basically the same rocket, except I'm going to try to set the solid fuel boosters higher up. So that way, hopefully, when they deploy, they aren't as, fucked up. Let's go ahead. Yeah, that one deployed at 1,200, so I'm going to contact when that says about 600. So we are going at 3 meters per second, so even a parachute would survive at 3 meters per second, I think. Go ahead and slow down here, because I can't tell what's coming up on this end. We're coming on a little bit of a slope, but it should be fine. I can get a crew report, an EVA report, another EVA report. Things will be fine. Alright, we're coming up on the ground. Let's try to rotate this so that way if anything takes damage, it's the communotron. But everything here, even the communotron, should be able to survive at 3.8 meters per second. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Wait. Oh, I never did observe that mystery goo. That was not good. Alright, so let's go ahead and observe the mystery goo where I can actually get science for it. In the desert. Crew report. Muchos thankios for the very small amount of science. Alright, let's go ahead and EVA. And store the experiment. Fall down. And EVA while on the ground. For free science! Now, here's something to note. When you collect the data out of these things, they are no longer usable. They can no longer be used again because you have done the experiment. So, if, for example, I wanted to... Like, if I had EVA while in space, I could save myself a lot of trouble on re-entry by going on EVA in space and collecting this data, and then coming back to Earth without these. That way I wouldn't have to have all those extra parachutes. Get up there. Looks like I'm going to have to recover this another time. And by another time, I mean about 2 seconds. Jeez, it's already that late in the video? But we did get a ton of science. How did he not gain any experience from that? He was able to expertly crash land in the desert. And get a little bit extra science from that, and some of our money back. Money is getting dangerously low, though, so I need to obtain this orbit quickly. And some water here, and go to R&D to get things. Now, I could get no, I couldn't get electrics. I'd have to get flight control for the drone, and for MechJeb. Construction for support struts, which would have helped me a lot right there. Or advanced rocketry, which could help, but is not as important as this. So we are definitely getting general construction. And how much science does that leave me with? 33? So I don't need that much more to get flight control. So I was in... When I did the science... Alright, my goal here is to attain a high orbit. So let's go ahead and basically take the same exact rocket right here, and we're going to add support struts onto it, because that way we can actually achieve an orbit. Another thing you could do is you could add the radial decouplers right here, these T70s, because they put a little bit of distance, which is always nice. Plus they have 10 extra force, which isn't as important. Am I at the parts limit here? Yeah, I'm at the parts limit here, so these struts are critical. So I'm going to have to get rid of one of my science bays, probably. So let's go ahead and... Yeah, unfortunately, all of these are, like, interconnected, which sucks. So I'm just going to have to completely rebuild this, which is annoying. Alright, so... first of all, I need a decoupler for this. I've already got the Communitron, the parachute. And, yeah, that should be all I need for that. And for great science, we need one of these. One of these, just in case we get to a place where I could use it. I've already got the Communitron on there, so that's the science module. And I don't need a decoupler to separate those, because they're just going straight onto this engine. Alright, we're going to add this one, I think. No. The medium-sized one. And put in the 90. And mass isn't a huge issue, but we're going to account for it anyway. Alright, next, we need... 2 of these guys, because they're the biggest ones. That's the wrong one, and it looks stupid now. There we go. And, now we need the... Yep, this one. There we go. Next, we need, I will add these radial decouplers, because they are very useful. Let's go ahead and do 4. And then we're going to go ahead and add the 4 solid fuel boosters. In the future, I will only show you guys full construction if it's something new. And one thing we are going to do here, we are going to use, if it doesn't put me over the parts limit, the launch stabilizers. And I only want 2 of these. Why is it not letting me do only 2? There we are. Let's do it that way then. That way I could definitely be only 2. There we go. That just saves me some parts. So, that rocket's complete and leaves me enough room to put on some support struts, which is very important. So let's go ×4 symmetry. Stick these onto here. Apparently that was too steep of an angle, so they didn't set properly. Do that. And then do another one down here in the opposite direction, and that should keep it very stable, and that's the parts limit. So we're going to actually name this, because I plan on this being the first... Where is the K on my keyboard? Kerbal Orbiter. There we are. And the 1 apparently did not work because of numbers lock. So let's go ahead and save that. And I know phone, you can stop vibrating. I'm over my time. You're getting a slightly longer episode today. I forgot to set up the staging properly, so this engine should fire at the same time as that one. And these should decouple at the same time as that one. And then the radial decouplers should fire, right? Yep, okay, and then this one will decouple. Alright, so we should be all set for science. Go on, Jebediah. Let's go ahead and keep the throttle on this very low, and start with stability assist. Actually increase the throttle a little bit just to get us up there, and then kill it. Because I want to save as much fuel as possible. We're going to go at about 30% throttle there. Once you get to 10,000, you want to pitch, and hopefully not go against the rotation of the planet like I accidentally did. But with the support struts, now this thing is very rigid. As you can tell, it is not rolling at all. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, as these solid fuel boosters get low, you want to make sure your throttle on your main engine is high. So that way, you don't lose as much momentum when you ditch the boosters. You do get rid of quite a lot of mass when you ditch the boosters, but you also get rid of quite a lot of thrust. So you want to start making your turn. That took the wings with it, which is unfortunate. Either that or I just didn't add wings. Alright, let's correct my roll a little bit, and my pitch. There we go. Alright, now what I want to do is I want to check here and see what my apoapse is. I can't tell what my time to apoapse is because my pilot isn't great yet. Go ahead and turn on fuel, stage only. Alright, my apoapse is increasing very rapidly. I like that. And once that's at about 78,000 is when I'm going to cut it. You know what? Alright, let's go ahead and do that. And keep prograde. And I still have quite a bunch of fuel left, so I could technically get into high orbit here. High orbit would be very good because I can get very good science from the materials bay there and from a crew report. So, okay. Now, since I have a decent chunk of fuel left in this engine, I can afford to burn at the apoapse time, rather. And let's go ahead and time accelerate up there. Even with time acceleration, that's a bit slow. Alright, now our angle is pretty steep here, so I'm going to burn early. There we go. That'll actually increase our apoapse a little bit. And it'll make it easier on our second engine. Alright, when that's at 10, you want to kill it. And that did burn quite a bit of my fuel. But it made my angle a lot easier to manage. So, alright, now that we are about at the apoapse, you're going to burn the rest of our fuel. And go with this engine. Now the reason why I'm burning early here is because this engine, again, has very low thrust. So it's going to take quite a bit of work for this to achieve a circular orbit with this. And I want to make sure I have enough fuel left to get down. So, that is the challenge. If you remember last time, we burned way too late, and because of that, I wound up being pulled back down toward the planet. I also didn't get quite as high this time. It's worth it to go at 102 or so, so that way when you're burning, you're not going to fight gravity nearly as early. Now, the challenge is to keep it on the prograde vector, because that's your most efficient way. Also, got to keep a constant eye on your fuel. And even if I achieve an orbit that's only like 70,000 at the other end, I will be happy. We are about at apoapse now. We are past apoapse. But we are almost in orbit. So close. We are so close to obtaining orbit. The circle is getting bigger. Will this be the grand moment you have all been waiting for? Find out in the next episode of I'm Not a Dick and I Don't Cut Episodes Early like that, like every other YouTuber does to gain repeated views. And orbit achieved! 82,000 by 107,000. Orbit achieved. Money get. Hell yes! Jebediah is happy that he has obtained orbit. He can't quite see Earth from here, though. That is IVA, by the way. IVA is internal view. And you switch out of it by hitting C. So where is he? Go ahead and roll so that he can look down on his beloved Kerbin. It's the dark time, though, so he can't see it very well, but it's there. Now, I have enough fuel to do this. I could try putting this into high orbit, which involves burning at your periaps until you are at least 300,000 kilometers away. And that is what I'm going to do. So, I'm going to quickly save it just in case I overshoot the node in time acceleration, which I have been known to do. I'm going to burn a little early because this engine is not very good. But yeah, we are orbiting the planet. I have done what no other Kerbal has done before, except for the many hundreds of YouTubers who have already done series on this, and I am way slow in the uptake about it. But that's my thing. That is most definitely my thing. I do things way after other people have done them and expect the same type of retention. Alright, we are going to burn now. I said now. There we are. I accidentally hit 0 thrust instead of full throttle. Alright, this actually won't take too much of my delta V. There we go. Delta V is the range of your craft. It's measured in meters per second. And basically, it's how far you can go on the fuel that you have with your maximum thrust. So it takes into account your fuel when you will run out of fuel and all that fun stuff. So your delta V is the absolute maximum that you will be able to throttle, basically. The higher the number, the farther you go, basically. High delta V, good. Low delta V, bad. It's based on a number of factors, including your thrust-to-weight ratio, the efficiency, your fuel efficiency of your engine, how much fuel you have, the effects of gravity, all that fun stuff. There's actually a calculation to figure it out, but I'm not going to bother doing it because I am lazy. Alright, we're going to get into high orbit. And once we're in high orbit, I can do science, and then I will burn prograde to land the ship. Now, I believe I actually achieved a perfectly equilateral orbit, but I wouldn't be able to tell unless I have MechJeb, because it'll tell me my eccentricity of the orbit. And if your eccentricity is at about 1 or 0.1, then you did it perfectly, and it looks like I'm damn near perfect. Maybe just a little bit anti-normal, but that's fine. Alright, we are now in high orbit. Crew report. It's very round, yet don't say. Mystery Goo, what do you have to say about being up this high? The goo feels right at home here. Indeed it does. And the Science Bay. 37.5. Beautiful science. Alright, now what we are going to do, I completely forgot I can't go on EVA. Fuck. That science is dead. I would have to pull off a very extremely risky maneuver of going on EVA in atmosphere just to collect the science data. I completely forgot about that. Alright, well, what we're going to do is we're going to burn... no, that's not retrograde. I believe this is retrograde. I'll be able to tell. Let's go ahead and change the map mode. And we're going to take a look at our periaps and see if when I thrust it goes down, which it does. Now, you don't need very much fuel to make this correction, honestly, and I could actually probably get into orbit of the moon with this fuel, but I'm not going to. Once your periaps is below 70,000 rather, you will eventually fall back to Kerbin. But I want to get it a little bit lower because I'm in a rush to get this episode out. And it looks like I might be going over some highlands, which would be great. Let's go ahead and turn this up a little bit. There we are. 37,000. That will put me in atmosphere. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to time accelerate. And I'm going to have to quick save here because I have to perform a very risky maneuver to get the science. Let's go into map mode. Alright, we are in atmosphere. So, here's the thing. I gotta turn this craft, go on... I have to be on the surface. Well, this science is dead. This science is literally useless to me. Let's go ahead and send that crew report because I was a moron. And let's go ahead and just re-enter the atmosphere. I was silly! Stability assist, turn that off. I'm in an uncontrollable roll now, actually. I can't control my roll. Get the pitch settled down. Oh, okay. It's a bit more controllable now. Oh, it's because I'm in time acceleration. That's why I can't control it. And I've almost got it. Almost. Damn, this thing does not want to respond to me. And... oh, come on. Oh, it's because I don't have any electric charge left. I can't... yeah. When you have no electric charge left, you can no longer operate the crew capsule. And it changed because I'm entering pre-orbit. Whoa! Bye-bye! Jesus. This is going to be a violent re-entry. It's a pity about all that wasted science because I was stupid and forgot Kerbals can't go on EVA. Hooray for re-entry! This part's boring. Da 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 da. I have nothing to say of interest. Ever, honestly, but still. Oh. I didn't realize I didn't have a crew report from there. It's kind of weird. Alright, we've re-entered orbit. And by re-entered orbit, I mean we have re-entered the atmosphere proper now. We are over the grasslands! Hooray! I'm going to go ahead and get nice and low here. Looks like these are above sea level, so I'm going to stop time accelerating at 2,000 meters. Whoa! That was my engine! I have no idea where it exploded, but it sounded like it was right next to me, even though it's nowhere to be seen. Yeah, we're on the grasslands. I don't want to overwrite my other crew report. Okay, that pulled at... okay, so I gotta be wary at about 400. This is gonna be my last episode tonight. I'm pretty tired, and I haven't even edited the second episode or rendered the first one, so I gotta get on that. And we're coming up on the ground pretty quickly, so Jebediah, you have successfully attained orbit, and you should level up to level 1 after this. Which means you will actually be able to find out the time to apoapse and do maneuver nodes, which would just be fantastic. Kablame! We have arrived! No, I don't want to override the crew report. EVA report. Flying over the grasslands. Store the experiment. And, there we go. EVA report on the grasslands. Store the experiment. Board the ship. Recover it. We have obtained orbit. We have gotten a good chunk of money from it. And we have gotten a lot of science. And he got level 1, which is just amazing. We're going to go ahead and clear that debris. And I'm honestly probably just going to spend my money upgrading my astronauts so they can go on EVA. Yeah, it's going to take about a quarter of my money, but I can get more Kerbals now. I like to try to have at least one of each, so I want it... there's not another engineer, so I just got to get another pilot. What do I have? I have 1 engineer, 2 scientists, 2 pilots. So I want another scientist and another pilot. Alright, I still have a decent chunk of money, and I eventually do want to upgrade this, but I won't be able to until I get some more contracts. And they want me to explore the Mun, which shouldn't be too difficult. The difficult part about it would actually be returning, because its gravity is pretty strong. We have a bunch of other missions here that I just can't be bothered with. The last time I did this mission, I got launched to escape trajectory, so not a good idea. Or is it? Alright, we're going to go ahead and exit here and go ahead and pick up our next thing. We can get these late tier ones, which include solar panels for electrical generation, aerodynamics for jet engines, advanced construction for decouplers, fuselages, that sort of stuff. fuel systems for fuel lines, which is incredibly useful. And we also would get RCS, which is also incredibly useful. Or we can go into advanced rocketry. Honestly, the thermometer doesn't give you that much science, and it's useless inside space, so... Flight control would get me my first probe. Unfortunately... And it would also get me MechJeb, which is actually pretty damn useful. It would also unlock fairings, which would just make things look really cool, and more winglets, as well as the small reaction wheel, which is actually damn useful, so I'm actually going to get that. And might as well finish off this tree, because it's more interesting if I finish off every tree before going to the next one. Boom! We're going to go and see what those opened up, because again, my tech tree is for some reason bugged. Alright, here we go. That unlocked advanced flight control, which gives you the Probodobodyne Octo, which I actually really like, comes with built-in SAS. Advanced inline stabilizer, which is really good. And maneuver and translation MechJeb features, which is basically autopilot, which I won't be using. I just like MechJeb for its readouts, honestly. Very useful. And I also unlocked heavy rocketry, which gets you some really cool stuff, including the Rockamax Poodle engine. And the Poodle engine is very good thrust in a vacuum for very good fuel efficiency. The only problem is it burns a lot of fuel, so you got to be careful with it. But it does give you very good thrust. This also unlocks the SRB KD25K, which is an extremely good solid rocket booster. Alright, so do we have anything new except exploring the Mun? Which, it never expires, so you might as well take it. And gives you a decent chunk of money. The rest of these are kind of okay. Radio decoupler orbiting, Sepatron orbiting. Damn, that gives you a lot of money. Anything else that gives a lot of money that's relatively easy? That gives almost no money. That gives less than no money. Alright, well, I've got what looks to be... Can't really tell. A decent chunk of reputation, so I could probably do unpaid research now, which gives you science. I can't do that, though. Fundraising campaign costs reputation for money. Yields funds for every unit of reputation. I think I'm actually going to do that. Because if I can get 7.5 units of funds for every reputation point, as opposed to what it'd start with, not very good. Alright, it takes 25% of my total reputation gains, but say I earn... let me go back for a second. So that was 7.5. Exploring the Mun. Overall completion would get me 261, right? 261 reputation. It would give me 7.5 funds for it. That's an extra 1,957, which is actually pretty good. I would prefer the extra science, though, because the science is more valuable. So, unpaid research. It takes quite a lot to start it up, though. But say that same one, what was it, 263? 263 reputation. And then you take away 5% of that. And you get 249.85, 249.85, and you get 1 science for every 1.6 points of reputation. So, I'm going to try to figure out how to calculate that. I'd have to divide that by the reputation per science point. So, divide that by 1.65. That would get me 151 science for that amount of reputation. That is utterly incredible. So, I am going to commit to that. And now I can't commit to this because, well, 1, it can only support 1 active strategy, and 2, I believe it conflicts, so... Upgrading this is actually extremely inexpensive, and it could be worth your time, but my science program will be based around getting science, but that's going to end it for this episode and this recording session. My throat hurts. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave me a comment. Make sure to leave, make sure to leave me a comment, guys. Let me know if you guys like it when I show all the building or not. If it's something I've already done multiple times, I'm probably not going to put it in. Let me know if you like seeing me launch and land every time, or if you prefer if I sped that up in, like, post-editing or something or other. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode, where hopefully we'll be exploring the Mun, funds and restrictions on parts and weight permitting. Alright, I'll see you guys then.